Hey there riders, MotoGeno Chris here to talk about the recently announced Ducati Panigale V2, which isn't a new model despite the name change, but is the latest iteration of the Panigale 959, or originally the Panigale 899, which had to be my favourite Panigale model out of all those that I've had a chance to ride. Now the logic behind the change is pretty simple. The larger capacity Panigale models are now a V4 with the Des Medici Stradale power plant, including in the new Streetfighter. Ducati's heritage is very much one that revolves around V-twins, however, and with this particular machine almost reaching the 1000cc capacity, it's not really a little Panigale anymore, nor a mid-sized machine. One interesting point of note is that there's been a lot of mention of comfort across the 2020 Ducati model announcements, alongside suspension setup and electronics packages offering safer sports performance on the road, as well as a more user-friendly experience. This was always an area that the 899 Panigale really excelled in comparison to the larger Panigale options, in my opinion, which were just too hard-nosed for my personal preference, regardless of how amazing the performance was. But on to the 2020 Panigale V2. This is just an updated Panigale 959, although saying just may be a bit of an understatement. There's a more streamlined overall fairing design, with the daytime running lights helping define a cleaner and more aggressive front fairing and headlight setup, with the sexy lines typical of a Ducati that are such a standout from a styling perspective. There's also sportier fairing design where you'd expect air to be flowing out from the radiators, and the headlight section plays double duties for air intakes, with motorcycle designers everywhere no doubt happy that the new LED lights offer so much flexibility and such compact options. Ducati call the V2 beefy, and looking at the front aspect of the bike, it's an apt descriptor. Part of the new fairing design is what Ducati call a two-layer system, where the lower section closer to the bike provides air routing and venting, with the upper, more visible layer maintaining Ducati's styling and obviously allowing designers a bit more freedom away from pure function. There's a steel trellis subframe anchoring the tail to the bike, with the aerofoil-like tailpiece and full LED lighting here too. The fairings merge seamlessly into the new, modern stubby low exhaust, which replaces the previous underbelly item and looks, dare I say it, a bit R6 inspired. There's a fair bit more going on here than just a new look though. The V2 is Euro 5 compliant, and the silencer has a new internal layout with less peaky noise emissions. Is that a good thing for the regular rider? Not sure on that one, but there's also now two cats included. One notable feature with new model releases from some brands is the refusal to ever release a new model with less claimed power, and the V2 holds true here, gaining 5 horsepower and 2 Nm of torque, bringing the bike to 155 horsepower and 104 Nm. That's 114 kilowatts or 76.7 foot-pounds of torque. This has been achieved by the use of new injectors, 2 per cylinder, located above and below the butterfly, and in this case being larger and re-angled, although the oval throttle bodies are still 62mm items and controlled by the ride-by-wire system independently. New inlet ducts also offer boosted efficiency. The V2 is powered by the Desmodromic Super Quadro 90° V2, a liquid-cooled 4-valve per cylinder power plant with a capacity of 955cc, which yes is the same as the old 959. Bore and stroke are 100 by 60.8mm, and compression is run at 12.5:1, which is relatively low compared to the V4. There's also a hydraulically controlled slipper and self-servo wet clutch, and the electronic package boasting riding modes with power modes, cornering ABS Evo, Ducati traction control Evo 2, Ducati wheelie control Evo, engine brake control and auto tyre calibration, plus a Ducati quick shift which is up and down and is the Evo 2 version. On the chassis side of things, we see the die-cast aluminium monocoque frame with the Super Quadro a stressed member attached directly to the cylinder heads, with the frame doubling as an airbox. Pretty nifty, but nothing new here. What is new is the die-cast aluminium single-sided swing arm that properly shows off the light alloy 5-spoke wheel on the rear, with the wheelbase up 5mm to 1436mm, rake the same at 24 degrees, and trail decreasing 1mm to 95. The weight is still 176 kilos dry, so they haven't been able to slim the bike back to 899 levels, which was 169 kilos. The single-sided swing arm does seem to push the more premium aspect of the V2, as Ducati tend to run the double-sided items on the more affordable options. That said, coming in at 20,000 Australian dollars, the 899 Panigale through to the 959 was only really the affordable entry-level Panigale option by Ducati standards, and that's before on-road costs. Although in the bike's defense, it was realistically plenty capable of competing with many other brands and their 1000cc supersport machines. On the suspension side of things, the V2 boasts 43mm Showa big piston forks with full adjustability, and a Sachs monoshock also offering full adjustability to match the Sachs steering damper. No huge changes here, but Ducati do mention fork slide moving out by 2mm and a 2mm longer shock to give a more intuitive ride according to the brand, with fine tuning to improve road comfort, which probably means a little bit of a softer setup. Brakes are unchanged with Brembo M432 monoblock calipers with 320mm rotors and a 245mm rear rotor. There's a Brembo 2-piston caliper on the rear as well, and both ends are of course backed up by that cornering ABS Evo, which looks like a new addition to this model, as I can't see it listed on the previous 959. Tyres are Diablo Rosso Corsa 2 tyres, offering a strong option that'll handle the road and track with equal ease without too much in the way of compromise, and still offering a real high performance sports tyre. So what do you think of the 2020 Panigale V2? We've seen a number of updates over the outgoing 959. Would the extra power or the single-sided swing arm be a selling point for you? Or the styling update, is that enough to really set the new V2 apart? Or is it just a matter of getting the latest and greatest? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. How do you think this compares to other models within the same category, and what do you think its big competition really is? As always, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to sub and hit that notification bell, hit a like, and of course, stay safe out there. Thank you.